Welcome back, friends. Thanks so much for sticking with us. And again, happy first day of summer. Look, throughout this season, many of us are going to be headed outdoors, but that also means we're going to have to deal with the insects. One way to avoid those insects is to wear bug spray. But listen, with so many on the market right now, how do we know which one to choose? Well, we're answering that today here in our LCMC Health Wellness Lounge. Joining me now, it's Dr. John Barbera. He is a pediatrician at Children's Hospital, New Orleans, and he's also John Barbera the fourth. His dad is like, what, the third?
Yeah, that's
I
right.
love it. Thank you so much for coming back, my good sir.
Thanks for having me back.
Yes, I am so glad we're talking about this. The last time he was on, everybody, we talked about sunscreen,
Right.
but now let's talk about bug spray. I was asking him before we got started, is there any scientific research as to why some people are attracted to bugs than others? And there really isn't any research.
Right, not too much science-based evidence behind that. There is theory that some people release pheromones that might be more attractive to mosquitoes more than other people, but not a lot of evidence behind that.
Right, I see a lot of it online. Is it because of our blood? Is it because of what we eat? The answer is probably everything, but again, there's no scientific research yet. But there is research on what type of bug repellent, bug spray we should use. Right. It should contain DEET, DEET. What is that?
Right, so DEET is a short name for a scientific name. It's a long name, so get ready for this. N,N-diethylmetatolamide.
Say that 4 times fast. Oh my goodness.
And it's been around since the 1950s, so there's been a lot of research and evidence behind it, its effectiveness, and also the safety profile behind it too.
And why should we go with a bug spray that contains that? Why is that better than something else?
Right, so DEET's not only going to offer you protection against mosquitoes, but it'll also offer you protection against ticks, chiggers, biting flies. So you want to make sure you have that because it protects you a lot against these vector-borne illnesses like West Nile virus, Lyme disease, Rocky Mountain spider fever. You want to make sure you have protection from those too.
Okay, so when we're looking at the labels, everybody, let's make sure we see DEET. And when it comes to applying bug spray, how often should we do it? Where should we put it?
So you're going to want to do it any exposed skin that you have, but also on top of your clothing too. You don't want to go underneath your clothing. For those younger children, make sure parents are helping them out applying, because you want to avoid places like the eyes, the mouth for possible oral ingestion. Sometimes you can use lotions or sticks if you want to be more careful about the areas around the face.
Okay, so they make different ways to apply, which I think is great. Now, when it comes to using a repellent with 30% or more, or less rather, of DEET, is it safe for everybody? Can young children have it as well?
Right, so the age group you want to be cautious about is under 2 months old. But after that, everyone over 2 months old, when you're looking for a bug spray, you really want to have DEET that is contained in that bug spray too.
No, it's so important because I don't know why, but I feel like this summer there are more mosquitoes than ever,
Right.
and they're bigger than ever, which I think is so unfortunate for sure. But I gotta ask you this as well, doctor, because again, there's so many different types of bug spray out there. We also need to wear sunscreen, right?
Right.
Is it okay to get a sunscreen bug spray combination?
So you actually want to, it's very enticing, especially as a parent. You know, a 2-in-1 makes it easier to apply to your kids. But you want to avoid the combo sunscreen and insect repellent, just because the duration of how much it lasts and the frequency that you need to reapply those differs. So sunscreen, like we talked about before, you're going to be wanting to apply every 2 hours. For insect repellent, based on the dosage of the DEET, it's going to determine how often you need to reapply that. So DEET about 10%, that's going to be around, give you about 2 hours of protection, and DEET of 30% is going to give you around 5 hours of protection.
And how often should we apply bug spray? And it does expire, right? Like sunscreen.
Yeah, so the shelf life of bug spray usually around 2 to 3 years, so always make sure you're checking the label for that. But when it comes to reapplying reapplying bug spray, it really just kind of depends upon the concentration. So you just need to figure out how long you plan on being outdoors to making sure you're getting that adequate coverage for that amount of time outdoors.
Because I'm telling you, they keep biting me, and I'm like, why is this? And If for some reason we still get a mosquito bite or any type of bug bite, right? What's your best tip as a pediatrician on what to do when it starts itching?
Yeah, so the first thing you want to do is wash it with warm water and soap. Afterwards, it's okay to apply a topical steroid like 1% hydrocortisone about 3 times per day. You got to remember, after you get bit by a mosquito, you're going to have itchiness for about 3 days.
3 days!
And about redness for about 3 days too, okay? So after you can use topical steroids. If you're still having itchiness, it's okay to use a little bit of Benadryl or Zyrtec or Claritin, one of these antihistamines, but you need to be cautious about the dose. Make sure you discuss with your pediatrician because the weight of the patient can determine the dose of the medicine.
I'm headed to the drugstore after today's show to pick up some bug spray that contains DEET. No more than 30% though. Thank you, Dr. Barbera the Fourth, for being here. And look, if you all want more information on how to stay safe this summer, especially when it comes to your kids, log on to chnola.org.